Most people get into trucking for the pay. They want to make more money than what they are making now. They don't get into it because they love trucks or it's a lifelong dream of theirs to drive a truck. Some do, but for the most part, they don't. They want better income than what they're doing now. But then they hear stories about drivers making 80,000 a year, 100,000, $120,000, but that's not the whole story. The reality of this doesn't match the expectations a lot of times. So in this video, I'm going to break down what you can expect to get paid in the trucking world. So you've started doing research because you're thinking about getting into trucking. Then you see one website says, oh, they're 55,000 a year. Another one says 70,000 a year. And then you hear some YouTuber saying, oh, I'll make $100,000 a year plus. And you're like, which one is right? You don't know which one is right. They're all right, depending on your level of experience and depending on what you're pulling and all kind of variables. The huge thing I've seen about the difference in pay levels and what they're telling you on the internet, one place versus another place, is they don't take into account your experience level. They don't take into account what you're pulling. Say a dry van, you're pulling a dry van as a rookie driver, brand new, you just got finished with your training for your company trainer. Compare that to an experienced driver, say 5 years or more, pulling a tanker. That's a total different beast. That's a totally different animal right there. That's why you can't compare it. It's not apples to apples. It's like apples to eggs. I don't know. It's totally different. You cannot compare one to the other. What they're doing is combining the entire industry into one little basket, and it doesn't work. You can't look at it that way. Different jobs, different freight pays a different amount. Different experience levels pays different amount. That's just how it is. You have someone that's pulling specialized oversized freight. I'm not going to make as much as they would. I do some oversized, but I don't do it all of the time. Specialized oversized freight usually pays a lot better, but it is really seasonal also. So you have to take that into account. So over a year period of time, it may be pretty similar as far as what you make. A lot of people don't think about it over a year's period of time. They look at it week to week or month to month, and you can't compare that way. You may be in a company with another guy with the same experience as you do, and he makes a lot more or a lot less than you. It just depends on what the freight is. It varies so much in this industry, it's unreal. Maybe you run more or less mileage than he does. Maybe you're better at planning your trips than he is, or he's better than you. There's a lot of variables in here that, there's not just one number that you can stick to as far as how much you're going to get paid. Realistically, first new drivers, right off, you can expect to be around the $50,000 to $65,000 a year range for the most part. Some people are going to be more. Some people may be less. I hope not, but for the most part, $50,000 to $65,000 is about what you're going to make. Pretty much a $60,000 a year average across the board, starting off. Some earn more, some earn less. It's just how it is. Expect the average. Don't expect the above average, because if you expect the average and then you do a little better than average, you're going to be excited about that. But if you expect the above average and you don't hit that mark, you're going to be disappointed. And disappointment leads to finding another career most of the time. A lot of people, they come into this thinking they're going to make $100,000 first year, and it's just not going to happen most of the time. It can, but most of the time it's not going to happen. New drivers, or drivers period, don't base your entire decision going to work for whatever company by what they're going to pay you per mile. Most of the time you're going to get paid per mile. An example of this, say you have one company that's going to pay you 60 cents and another one's going to pay you 50. The 60-cent a mile company is going to give you maybe 1,800 miles a week. The 50-cent a mile company is they're, saying you're going to make 3,000 miles a week. That could be a big difference in your pay at the end of the week, even though per mile you're making less money. So don't look so much at the cents per mile. You don't want to get ridiculous. You don't want to be working your tail off basically for, you know, a lot of miles that you could do somewhere else. You could do less miles somewhere else and make the same money. It's a balancing act. You have to balance. You have to figure out a good rate per mile with a company that's saying, you know, they're going to give you good miles. If you can run 2,500 miles a week and you're getting, you know, 50, 55 cents a mile, that's usually pretty good, especially to start. A lot of companies I have found that I've done some research on, they're between 40 and 45 cents a mile for a new driver inexperienced straight out of school. So think about that also. Most over-the-road drivers tend to average between 22 and say 3,200 miles a week. You can do 32. I mean, most time it's, you know, give and take. I usually do pretty good, you know, but I don't get paid mileage, so I don't really track the mileage a whole lot. I get percentage, and some companies pay percentage, but if you don't know the freight and the freight lanes, and you're not able to choose where you go, then percentage may not be a good decision for you. That's a lot of the percentage paid. You have to know the industry pretty well, and if you don't, you could be making less than what you would at cents per mile. But mileage pay, if you're not making those miles, you know, 120 to 130,000 miles a year, you're not going to make the pay that you want to, because if you're not moving, you don't make the money, mileage or percentage. If you're not moving, you're not going to make the money. Track your truck. What's going on with your truck? You know, good pre-trips. Keep an eye on everything, whether it's your truck or not. You're driving it, you're responsible for it, and it's going to make you money. So if you really track what's going on with it, and if you're having issues, get it taken care of as quickly as possible, that's going to help you out. If the freight slows down, this is something you really need to look at as you're choosing companies. How good is their freight? How good is their contracts? And you can do some research. I mean, Google's a wonderful thing. You can do some research and find this out. You know, what kind of contracts and what's their average miles per driver over the year, and that'll tell you a lot about that. Their customer base is going to be huge. If you have lots of delays at customers, you know, or you running with a company that has a lot of pickup and delivery delays, that can hurt you also. You just have to look at that, you know, do a lot of phone calls. A lot of communication with these customers usually help you get in and out really quick. And if you can be there early before your appointment, call them and see if it's okay. Maybe they can get you unloaded early so you can get to the next load. Because sitting around, it doesn't pay. Even if you go to a shipper or receiver and they're delaying you and your company is going to pay you detention time, most of the time detention pay is hourly pay, and it may be $10 an hour up to $20 or $25 an hour. But most of the time, you're going to make more going down the road than you are going to be sitting at a shipper or receiver. Some drivers are going to make more or less than others, and it all depends on, do you have a system set up? Are you doing a lot of communication? Are you doing a lot of trip planning everything out? Are you managing your time on your logs? Are you planning to park? You know, do you need to go a little further? Do you need to stop earlier? There's a lot of stuff that you have to look at to manage all of this. Your clock management in general is a major factor in whether you're going to make more money or less. The more experience you have with all of this, the more you're going to make, plain and simple. The more you're going to make with more experience, because you start thinking ahead naturally. You're planning stuff and just don't even realize that you're planning it. So let the experience grow and your income is going to grow. Now, something that I've talked about before in different videos is you're making all of this money, or you want to make all of this money, but you're living on the road pretty much. You're living out here either a week or months at a time, or just a few weeks, whatever it is. But you're making all this money, but you don't get anything going home because you're spending it on the road. Truck stop food is not cheap most of the time. Energy drinks, they're really expensive, especially in truck stops. Fast food in truck stops or in general. Plus, they're not good for you. None of this is energy drinks and fast food, my opinion, not good for you. So I don't do them. Your convenience purchases. Oh, okay, I forgot something, or, you know, I'm sitting here on a 34 right now. convenience purchase. I just want to go in there and buy stuff, whatever. Your boredom spending adds up really quick. Then you want to buy like gadgets and stuff like that. You know, you may want a headset. This one is $150. This one is a little under $20. I'll put a link for it in my description. I got that set up for the newer drivers so you can get started maybe a little less expensive. I'm trying to get some more products you can put in there. So I'm just trying to help you folks out, really and truly. But manage your money and don't go crazy overspending in places whenever you don't need to, because they can really put a bind on your wallet and you just don't realize it. I saw a couple of guys were running team way back when, and they would go out and they'd make a lot of money. But then as they came in, the people we were working for, they didn't really limit your cash advances. You could get cash on the road at some of these places, and they didn't really limit it. They'd just send them whatever money. You know, if they made it, they'd just go ahead and send it to them. Whenever they got in to do their final settlement, they would be at zero or near zero. They'd get like a $5 check or something, then be complaining about it because they spent all of their money on the road. They literally spent every penny they made on the road, $2,000 or $3,000 while they were going on the road. And then their family's like, well, we don't even have any money. What do we do? You cannot do that, folks. If you're going to be successful in this business, you have to manage your money really tight and don't spend it all on the road. I have seen people, I firsthand saw people do this. Not good. The lifestyle shock that a lot of people go through whenever they get out of, say, a normal job, what a lot of people call a normal job, say a warehouse job or whatever it is, an office job, whatever, that makes people think again about, well, is this enough money to actually be doing this job? You know, sleeping in the truck all the time, you're planning your showers, you're planning your parking, you're finding parking. That's a real pain in the rear sometimes. You're missing family events. You're most likely going to miss a few. You're most likely going to miss holidays that you're out on the road. Is that worth it for what you're going to be making? Is it worth it to deal with the stress that it takes, you know, driving around a lot of people or finding small areas that you have to pick up and deliver? You have to figure that out for yourself, because it's going to be there, and this is total different. This is a total different lifestyle than what you've seen before. If you've never driven, this is a different lifestyle. It's not bad. It's something you have to get used to. And if the money alone is not going to carry you through it, then you have to have other reasons for getting into this industry. Trucking can improve your finances. It definitely can. It can change your life financially. Definitely can. You have to regulate all of this stuff. As drivers, we don't get paid to just drive and deliver freight. We get paid for time away from home. We get paid for being responsible for the truck, trailer, and the freight. We get paid for driving through terrible weather at times. We get paid for sitting in traffic. We get paid for being delayed at shippers and receivers. And we get paid for the lifestyle sacrifices. It's just not all driving, people. It's not all driving. You're getting paid for all of that stuff. And if it's not enough of pay for you to not or to deal with that, then you may want to rethink getting into driving a truck, because there's a lot to it that a lot of people don't understand until they're actually in it. So the advice that I could give anyone getting into trucking, it's okay to come into trucking for the money, but just have realistic expectations. Don't go by all the fluff that a lot of these companies put out there. It can be good and it can be really bad, depending on the way you work it and the company you decide to go with and what you want to haul. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it, folks. The long-term success, kind of like the tortoise and the hare, be the tortoise, is going to beat the huge paycheck. You're going to get a huge paycheck one week and then nothing next. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, you're going to get another huge one. You want to be steady in this business, because if you don't, you're going to really and truly burn yourself out really fast. If I could sum this up in one sentence, you can absolutely make good money in trucking, but the drivers that succeed understand income comes from the miles, efficiency, and lifestyle sacrifice, and financial discipline, not just cents per mile. So I'd love to hear from you. If you're considering trucking, what amount of income would make it worth it for you? And for the experienced drivers watching, what is the biggest surprise about trucking pay that you found whenever you first started? Let me know in the comments if you would. And in the next video, I'm going to talk about the biggest answer from the poll that I did that created these videos is changing life. A lot of people want to get into trucking because they just want to change in their life. Because a lot of people are not looking for a new job. They're just wanting a fresh start. So that's going to be the next video. I appreciate you watching. If you would subscribe, like this, share this, and leave comments. I really appreciate them all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.